special ed can intersect with criminal law. I'm going to start this with, I have a little bit of a prejudice on this. As many of you know, I was a prosecutor for about 17 years here in Delaware County. And I've taught criminal law at Villanova at undergrads for about 20 years. And I always felt that the forgotten child of criminal law, not only in Delaware County but in other counties, was sentencing. I was often unimpressed with the job defense attorneys did with regard to sentencing. You know, hey, as a prosecutor, I was all too thrilled to see someone not do a very good job at sentencing. But it was kind of it was almost an afterthought to, I think, too many people. It was, you know, the defendant's been employed as a roofer for the last 15 years. He has 2 children. He hopes to marry his girlfriend, and his parents are, you know, separated, but one of them's here, and, you know, he thinks he can turn his life around. Well, and when I'd see a good defense attorney do a good job at sentencing, it was really something to behold. And I always knew when they were doing a good job because you'd see the judge erasing you know, the sentence that they had come in. You know, I see some smiles around here because you've seen it, where the judge is erasing and switching. By talking about things like, I've gotten him into an educational program. He's trying to get a better job. If he doesn't have a job, here are the 40 places he's applied. The last 6 months he's been doing community service. He attends, you know, some sort of religious group or something like that. But really putting effort into it. And in the juvenile court, I just think tremendous opportunities exist to use the whole special education system and programs for the benefit of the kid, so that the child is not as likely to look at detention. And frankly, to use this as an opportunity to get the kids served. I would say probably 15 to 20% of our cases in our office, special ed cases, involve calls that we get from parents who aren't thinking special ed at all. Their kid's about to get expelled from school because they did something stupid, for lack of, you know, not to put too fine a point of it. And, you know, our program is we call the attorney for the district, say, look, we want a special ed evaluation. We think there's some issues here. They almost always have an emotional issue or ADHD, something that's causing what's going on. Because by the time a district is looking to expel these kids, unless it's drugs or a gun, and they'll get rid of you on the first time with that, but almost always, there's some history of something going on. There's been problems along the way. I mean, most kids don't bring guns, drugs, or threaten to blow up the school unless they've got something else cooking. And I will tell you that in our experience, 95% of the evaluations that have been done by districts in response to, we're going to expel this kid, find the kid eligible. And the district, frankly, doesn't instinctively want to find the child eligible under those circumstances, because the whole game changes if a child has a disability and you're trying to discipline him, as opposed to if the child has no disability. If the child has no disability and the child has done anything that is expellable, you're almost throwing yourself at the mercy of the school board and asking them, please don't expel this kid, or only do it for a couple months, because there aren't many cards to play. There just aren't. If you've done the crime, they have the right to make you do the time. Whereas if their child has a disability, the federal special ed law has a whole panoply of rights. And basically, if the disability was a significant factor in the child's misbehavior, they can't expel. They can't expel. Now, if it is a gun, a drug, or serious bodily injury that was caused, the district can put the child in a 45-day alternative program 45 school day alternative program. They can do it unilaterally. But at that point, the child comes back and is not expelled. So a lot can be done to avoid expulsion if the child has a disability. And again, in our experience, even if the child has never been identified and you ask the district to do the evaluation, 9 times out of 10 or more it comes back that the child has a disability that hasn't been identified. And once that happens, unless there is no relationship between, no meaningful relationship between the misbehavior and the disability, the child can't be expelled. And they have to provide an appropriate program for the child, which may include therapy, it may include special schooling, it could include an alternative school. And almost always, we're able to negotiate a resolution with the school district about placement going forward, about sometimes a compensatory education fund, a fund of money or hours that the child can get services outside of school because the child wasn't identified previously, and usually counsel fees. So there's a lot that can be done in these discipline cases. And going to the juvenile court side of it, think of, let's say the child threatens to blow up the school and is arrested. You ask for the evaluation. Child's, the juvenile court system is going to be going at parallel courses with the special ed system. The district will evaluate, you get the juvenile court hearing, and you're able to tell the judge, we already have an evaluation in progress. The district has agreed, it'll be done within 60 days. We think there's an emotional issue, here's why. The child has previously identified with ADHD by the family doctor, has had medication, whatever is available. And courts don't want to send kids away if they can help it. It's costly, there's a lot of supervision issues, so they don't like to do it. And if the child, if you work out with the school district, okay, the kid's going to go to an alternative school for a couple months while the evaluation takes place, sometimes you can get the kid back in school, but if it's guns, drugs, or injury, that's not going to happen. One way or another, you're going to work something out with the district about alternative education to make the judge feel more comfortable with what's going on. That, okay, there is going to be some delay as we figure out what's going on with this kid, but some good things are happening. An evaluation is taking place that your juvenile people don't have to do. Doesn't cost the juvenile system any money. The child's in some agreed upon placement while the evaluation is going on, which reduces the supervision level or the need to put the child in an alternative placement, juvenile detention, whatever, while the evaluation is going on. And then, if the child's identified, you're going to agree upon some sort of an individualized plan for the kid. You can come back to the judge and say, Judge, there's no need to punish this kid very much, or deal with it in a community type setting because here's what we have planned. There were unidentified issues. They have been identified. The child's in a special ed class, getting counseling, getting social work services from the school. We've applied to medical assistance. We've gotten wraparound services, people coming into the home X number of days a week. And suddenly, you've taken what is normally a juvenile court problem. Where are we going to put this kid? How are we going to supervise this kid? How are we going to punish this kid? In the juvenile court system, and basically you've turned it into a community issue, which is really where most of these things belong, I think. The whole juvenile court system was originally designed to be a community-based model. But you're dealing with it in the kid's home, in the kid's school, which is where the kid normally functions every day, which hopefully is a good thing. So in terms of the juvenile court system, you've lessened the likelihood of significant punishment, changed the whole idea to treatment, and you've taken some of the burden off the juvenile court system in terms of identifying the treatment, supervising the treatment, and providing the treatment. So it's a huge win for the kid and the kid's family, and hopefully the community.